Jim Longworth, and welcome to another edition of Triad Today, coming to you once again from the Cedar Botanical Garden. We'll tell you more about them in just a little while, toward the end of the show, and that's when the roundtable shows up too. We'll get into all sorts of controversies with them, but between now and then, some great guests and important topics coming your way, including a small business success story and much more. But where we want to start is talking about the YMCA and all sorts of activities that they provide, and we do it with three great athletes, and they're all three great athletes. On my immediate right, he's his first time on the show. He's a local hero from playing a great football player for Winston-Salem State University, but now Richard Daniels is executive director of the William G. White Jr. Family YMCA. David Daggett and his partner Griff Schuler positioned behind us, of course, from Daggett Schuler, both of them fine athletes, and I feel like I'm outnumbered. Welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Richard, let me start with you. Remind everybody about the overall mission of the Y.
So the mission of the YMCA is to help all people reach their God-given potential in spirit, mind, and body.
Now, very quickly, remind people where your center is located and who you serve.
So I'm the executive director at the William G. White Jr. Family YMCA, which is located downtown Winston-Salem.
All right. Now, in general, what kind of program, we'll get into some newer programs in a minute, but in general, what kind of, year-round activities and programs and things do you offer especially for children and youth?
So there are several programs that we offer at the YMCA. One of them is our summer learning exploration camps, our youth swim lessons. We also have youth basketball that go on. And then we have some other initiatives for the YMCA that comes around our Black Achievers Program, Youth Achievers programs, and also our programs that are within the schools as well.
Right. And you have some new initiative. Now, what's the new initiative maybe that's coming up?
So we're piloting a new program, which is a national initiative, which is called the Teen Referral Program. And it's also in conjunction with the Young Men of Color initiative.
And now there's some of those newer initiatives that you're talking about. I want to get David's take on this, because isn't there something near and dear to your heart and Griff's heart, that sort of an event that helped to fund these things?
Well, sure. We just finished earlier in the month the 38th annual Mistletoe Run, which is centered around the William G. White YMCA. By the way, Santa Claus was there, and people don't know this, but I know who Santa was, and I got a picture with him. So
we don't want to reveal that, except that Santa is a good athlete as well. Yeah.
So historically, the event is to fight childhood obesity through programs targeted at youth in the community.
Right.
The one big one that Richard left out, he's got so many, he can't remember them all, is the after-school program that we have. And a lot of those are underprivileged kids in the community that if we didn't have this, they wouldn't have to be a place to go, they'd be out on the street. I've seen Richard go out on the street and grab them and bring them in and put them in a program.
Right. That's real dedication, and somebody that loves the community. Griff, why is it so important in general for kids and adults to get involved at the YMCA?
Well, it's interesting. Richard was telling me off camera, I thought he put this exactly right. He said, we're dealing in our country with two pandemics. Obviously, the pandemic of COVID that we've become so accustomed to, but also having a pandemic among young people. And getting them in a situation and getting them in environments that are constructive for them. And this new pilot program sounds wonderful, because the idea of it is to allow them to become members, to give the funding to the teens to allow them to become members so that they can come after school and have an environment that they can get tutoring there, do their exercise there, and the Y becomes a place, a destination.
I also got to warn you, be careful about Richard, because he get into your pocket, because he's serious about funding this program. He got me pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, those football players, I know you love what you do, and I hope you won't be a stranger to the show and you come back again. And thanks for all you do for the community.
Thank you for inviting me.
I want to put up on screen a couple things. YMCA, NWNC.org is the general YMCA website, which I hope you'll check out. And then DaggettSchewerLaw.com, or you can call 724-1234 if you should need the services of these gentlemen. And guys, thanks for everything.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
We'll be right back after this. On Triad Today. Always glad we can spend a few minutes with the good folks from Mountain Valley Hospice and Palliative Care. And when I say good folks, we have one sitting with us here who does great work in helping people deal with grief, among other things. And we welcome to Triad Today Dr. Jonathan Cass-Stevens. He's chaplain at Mountain Valley Hospice and Palliative Care. Good to see you.
Thank you, sir. Good to see you.
For those of us that have lost a loved one and gone through that, we know that holidays can be difficult, and you and I have emailed about that. What tips can you offer on how to deal with grief around the holidays if you've lost someone? Not necessarily in the last few days, but maybe that year. How do you deal with the grief around holidays?
Well, what I share with my patients and their families is to share the memories of that loved one. I think when you talk with each other, it's very therapeutic. And I tell them even start new traditions. I mean, because some of us, every one of us deal with grief differently. To some, it's crying. To some, it's talking. To some, it's doing projects. But we must understand that people deal with grief at different times and in different ways. I can share with myself, dealing with grief with my grandmother. I didn't start grieving for 3 years. But
I understand what you're saying.
yeah, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we must be open to listen to them, let them know we're there, let them know we love them, and let them deal with that grief at their own time.
And that helps for those of us that are going through that kind of loss. What about if you have a friend who you know suffered a very personal loss and not knowing what stage they're in? I mean, what's the best thing in general to do? Go up and get their mind off of it, go up and start talking about the grief, go up and share stories about the one who's passed away. I mean, what do you do in general with a friend?
I think the easiest way to deal with them is just let them know you're there if they want to talk to you. And I think so many times it's just letting them know we'll be that hug, will be that loving, tender touch, so to speak. I think it's important that we just let them know we're there and let them deal with that grief in their own time and in their own way. Like I said, to us, it may be verbal, but to them, it may be a project.
Well, that's true. That's true. Now, you've often said too, and we've talked about on this show before, and you mentioned just a few seconds ago, everybody grieves differently. That's also true with children.
Yes, sir.
Children who have lost a parent or a grandparent or a brother or a sister, and maybe they've gone through hospice. What advice do you have on helping kids who are grieving?
With children, we all know that children deal with grief differently. Children don't understand death a lot of times. They don't understand why grandma and grandpa got sick, or mom or dad, or even a sibling.
Right.
Because death can happen with a brother or sister, and they don't understand. So we need to be, as parents, grandparents, family, friends, there to listen to them. If a child comes to us and they begin to talk, we don't interrupt, because that's their way. If they're going to talk, hey, I'll sit there and I'll listen for hours.
And not judge it.
And not judge it, because they're going to open up and they're going to share with us their true feelings. And then if we start family traditions, like the way I do with the losses in my life, let that child be hands-on. If it's biscuits and gravy on Christmas morning that Granny used to cook,
let them help.
Let them help. And that's the best therapy, is allowing them to talk without interruption, and allowing them to be part of the activities that we do to remember the loved one that we've lost.
You're still doing grief camps, aren't you?
Yes,
for
sir.
Kids?
I was part of this one this year.
Yeah, those are great. Before time runs out, I want to make sure we get up some information here on screen. mtmvalleyhospice.org, 888-789-2922 is the number. And basically, I just want to give a plug for the fact that you guys not only do a great job, but you don't necessarily have to have a loved one in hospice, but if you're going through grief, they can avail themselves of your chaplaincy, right?
Yes, sir. They can call us, hit the website, as you just said. When that person answers, our number is 888-789-2922. If they call, whoever answers the phone, if they want resources to deal with grief,
Right.
if they want to talk to myself or some of the chaplains or the bereavement coordinator or our Kids Path coordinator that you just mentioned,
Absolutely.
they can, and we're there 24/7.
All right. Chaplain, I appreciate all you do.
Thank you, sir. Merry Christmas.
All right, same to you. We'll be right back after this. Now on Triad Today, and so pleased to have this special guest with us, coming to us from the Z. Smith Reynolds Foundation. She is Claire Bradshaw, and she is a fellow. Yes, she's a lady, but she's a fellow. I'm not going to get into the whole difference there. The Z. Smith Reynolds Foundation. Happy holidays and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Tell us what the Foundation's fellowship program is all about. What's the purpose?
Absolutely. So the fellowship is the Z. Smith Reynolds Foundation offers 1 2-year full-time paid fellowship every year to an individual who demonstrates an interest in philanthropy, the nonprofit sector, community service, and just generally the health of the state of North Carolina in general.
Now, all right, so that's the general thing. In specific, who should apply? I mean, is there a certain type of scholar, executive, community leader? Who should apply?
Absolutely, that's a great question. So preference is given to recent college graduates, but really to be eligible for the fellowship, you need to be either a native or a resident of North Carolina and or a graduate of an accredited North Carolina university. And
is there an age range or restriction on the low or high end about this?
not technically. As I said, preference is given to recent graduates, so the focus is on leadership development for young people, likely in their early 20s, but there's really no hard stop there.
Now, the benefit, isn't there a cash stipend involved in some way? Tell me about the benefit in general and the stipend in specifically.
Absolutely. So the fellowship is a 2-year paid position. So in the first year, the salary is $44,000 plus competitive health, vision, and dental insurance and other types of in-kind benefits. And that increases in the second year to correspond with increasing responsibility that fellows acquire.
What does it mean for you personally to be a fellow of the Z. Smith Reynolds Foundation?
Well, personally, it's one of the greatest honors that I've had in my short, lifetime, but really what it means to me is an opportunity to connect with change makers, disruptors, and community leaders across the state that are really at the meat and bones of making the state a great place to live for
your
everyone.
personal mission then would be, what do you try to accomplish during this period of time personally?
So personally or?
Well, professionally and personally, what do you want to try to accomplish within the 2 year? Because you said it's a 2-year thing. What are your goals within that period of time?
Absolutely. So professionally, the fellowship is just a great opportunity for me and for whoever is stepping in to join me this next year to really understand the ins and outs of philanthropy in the nonprofit sector across the state of North Carolina. So fellows have a hand in almost every single project and bucket that the foundation works on, so everything from evaluating grant proposals to meeting with grant applicants or current grantees, all the way to identifying and leading projects of personal interest.
And you all do such great work throughout the area too. Now, is there a deadline that people should keep in mind, or are we past one cycle into another cycle, or when can people apply for fellowship?
Absolutely. So as of right now, the deadline is January 4th. To apply for the upcoming fellowship is January 4th, 2022 at 12 p.m.
And they can get some more information. What I can do now is put up the website, because the general website is www.zsr.org, zsr.org. And I'm assuming that going to that general website, you can work your way through to find out more information about the application. Is that right?
That's exactly correct. Yeah, there's more information on the website, as well as kind of details onto where past fellows are now and just further details about the opportunity.
And when I fill out my application, even though I'm 68, if I say that I'm 25, will I get in trouble?
No, any and all.
See, I caught her on that one. All right. Hey, I'm real proud of you and proud of what you're doing and what the foundation's doing. Thanks for everything.
Well, thank you so much for having us.
All right. We'll be right back after this. On Triad Today, and it's time to salute a small business success story. And we have 2 great successes with us right now. A friend of the show who's on here frequently, I always love to have her as a guest. Karen Barnes, the CEO of Agile City, Winston-Salem, and she has brought a special guest with her, Morgan Abraham, via Boston, Massachusetts, but he's here now. Co-founder of a company called Smoothie, and we welcome both of you. Good to see you.
Thanks, Jim.
Karen, I'm going to start with you. Remind folks what the Venture Winston grants are all about.
Absolutely. So the Venture Winston Grants is a startup grant competition that is designed to bring startups to Winston-Salem for them to grow for the next 12 years. And Morgan is one of the founders, and his company is going to be receiving a $50,000 grant in the future of food, nutrition, and agriculture.
$50,000 grant. And would you like to share that with any older people you know? No, I'm just kidding. What is the smoothie company? What is that all about?
Yeah, so Smoothie's all about empowering people and helping them build healthy habits is really what our mission's all about. And what we've done is we've developed and invented a self-cleaning smoothie machine that makes fresh, all-natural smoothies that are 100% vegan, customized for you in under 1 minute.
It's self-cleaning.
Yeah, so this is meant for being put into offices, so it's not your traditional home blender. We're in convenience stores, we've been in offices, we've been in gyms and schools as well. So.
Right. And you said that it's under, now how long does it take to make a smoothie in that?
It takes about 1 minute to do that. So you basically, you have a freezer right next to our machine that has these cups with all natural ingredients. It's fruits and vegetables. You pick the flavor you want, you put it in our machine, and then you select how thick you want it. And then our machine's gonna blend it right in the cup. You get to see the whole process. We wanted to make it fun and interactive, so the whole machine is transparent. So is the cup in the freezer, so you see the whole thing going on.
There are old codgers like me that think that if you're talking about a smoothie, you know, that guys, that can't possibly taste very good, but not true.
Yeah, I mean, we had a big challenge with that. We don't add any sugar to our smoothies. We don't add any dairy to our smoothies. So if you're looking for a Coca-Cola, it's not going to taste like that. But if you want something to actually taste healthy and delicious,
right?
We figured out exactly how to put the right amount of banana, the right amount of berry, the right amount of mango or pineapple in each smoothie, depending on the different flavor profiles to make something people really enjoy. And there's 3 different flavors we started with, so it kind of allows us different users with different taste preferences to pick the smoothie they really love.
Yeah, my wife has tried that, and I drank it, and I was very surprised that it's really good stuff. And from your perspective, it's also good for you. Now, how did you come to get the idea for this?
So it's actually a funny story. My co-founder, Pascal, who's actually still back in Boston, and I were both working in the exact same idea independently of each other. So Pascal was doing his MBA, and his professors, he wanted to invent the machine, and his professor said, forget it, you're a business student, you should prove the business out. So he took his professor's advice, and he started going to different offices with these buffet style smoothie bars, and got a lot of really good traction, a lot of really good response. And the funny thing is, I think a lot of the professors didn't expect him to follow through on that. He would go back to consulting or a high-paying professional business. But a year later, he was still doing it. And at that point, I was developing the machine because I didn't go to business school. I was working as an engineering consultant, and so I knew how to build things.
Yeah.
So I built that machine that he was looking to develop. And I found out about him through a fellow former classmate of mine and his first intern. And so we met each other, not knowing whether we were competitors or potential allies or our business partners. And we did a 3-month trial, and we blew everything out of the water.
That's just great.
Yeah.
Look, just in a few seconds, tell me what attracted you to the Triad.
There was a few things. I mean, I think that the people here are great. We got into a few great programs here, and then especially Venture Winston Starts, our Venture Winston Grant, and also Winston Starts.
You can be tongue-tied if you want to. If I had a $50,000 check in my pocket, I would. No, but 10 seconds. This is what you're after, right?
Absolutely. And by the way, they now have machines in 3 Triad locations, Clemens, Jonesville, and Kernersville.
Right here.
In Kernersville.
How about that?
So,
All right, we're going to go out and get a smoothie in a second. AgileCity.ws is a website I want you to check out. Also, Inmar.com. And quickly, how can people find out more information?
GetSmoothie.com.
GetSmoothie.com. Sounds like a movie title. Hey, congratulations on your success.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
All right, we'll be right back after this. Today, just about time for the roundtable, but a quick shout out and thanks to the good folks here at Senior Botanical Garden in Kernersville. Please visit the garden. Lots of great things to see. Their website's on screen as well. Also, a programming note. Over the next 2 weeks, we will be focusing our attention on the United States Senate race. So we'll have Republican and Democratic candidates for you to get to know. And the roundtable itself will be back on January 8th. But please enjoy those programs. Now to the roundtable. On my right, but always political left, Ogie Overman, the great broadcaster and journalist. We held over David Daggett from his previous segment as we talked about the great things going on at the YMCA and how he supports them. And Keith Granberry, founder of Helping Hands Consultants. Guys, New York City just passed a law that will allow non-citizens who are here legally to vote. You okay with that? And would you like to see Triad cities do the same thing, Ogie?
I'm not real I'm not horrified by it, but it still, there's some little voice inside that says kind of should be citizens.
That you ought to be citizen. David Day.
Yeah, I think you need to be citizens. Further, that will end up in the courts. I'm not sure that's constitutional.
Keith, should you?
The word legal. If
Well,
you're
they're here
legal and
legally.
you're paying taxes, you should be able to vote.
Even if you're not a citizen.
Absolutely.
All right. Nevada has become the first state to impose a surcharge on health premiums for unvaccinated state employees. Under that law, workers who refuse to be vaccinated will pay about $55 a month extra for their health care premiums. Would you like to see that policy enacted here in North Carolina, Ogie?
I'd like to see it enacted in every state in the union, absolutely. We got to get
Surcharge.
tough with these idiots that won't get the shot.
Because now we're, going to the, the
Here we
new
go again. It's not going
variants.
away, Jim.
Yeah.
It's not
David
going
Daggett,
away.
a surcharge on health care
Yeah,
premiums?
it's an actuarial formula. We do that with smokers. We do it with people with other underlying diseases, conditions, sensibilities. Absolutely, we should do it with vaccination also. It's an actuarial formula. They can do the math on it, and yes, we should do it.
And the states Nevada's imposed this, but what you're saying too is it could come to the point where the insurance companies themselves treat unvaccinated people like they do smokers.
If they don't do that, we're then paying for the health care of the people who choose not to be vaccinated.
Keith, you
Well,
think?
I understand the issues. I still think that unless it's mandated by law, you shouldn't be doing surcharges with people if they don't get vaccinated.
So you want to see the federal mandate go through and
Yeah,
then?
federal mandate then, but I don't think you should do it before that.
All right. The City Council of Charlottesville has voted to donate its controversial statue of Robert E. Lee to the African American Heritage Center, who plans to melt it down and create new art from it. Remember when the Nazis and all that marched around there and then they got rid of the statue and took it down? Everybody sort of thought the statue was like other statues, were going to be moved to another museum or some appropriate place. But they're going to melt it down. Now, guys, shouldn't the statue have been preserved as art and just moved to an appropriate venue, Ogie?
Well, if it were the only one, but see, a lot of those statues were cookie cutter from the same mold back in the 20s. It wasn't right after the Civil War. It was during Jim Crow and the Klan was running things.
Early
That
1900s.
melted, yeah, it's not the only or last one.
It's still a piece of art. Do you think it should be melted down or what?
Well, I agree with Ogie, but for a different reason. There's different decision-making policies for different places and different times. You brought up the Nazis. An example of that, and I don't know if this is a fair analogy or not, and I really don't like bringing it up, but some concentration camps have been preserved so that you don't forget and we can remember the atrocities so that we don't repeat them. Others were destroyed and are not there anymore. Different time, different places, different influences from the surrounding area. So I think that locale needs to make their specific decisions.
Keith, the African American Heritage Center wants to melt down the Robert E. Lee statue and make new art from it that's more diverse. What do you think?
I think they should. I don't think that we need to preserve statues that show us or tell us the atrocities that were committed during slavery. And if Robert E. Lee would have been successful, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today. So I don't think we need to see a statue to tell me that what the atrocities were done to us needs to be preserved. I think it needs to go.
All right, very quickly, don't want to spend a lot of time on this one, but the Coast Guard, a former cadet at the Coast Guard, is suing the Coast Guard for expelling him because he and his girlfriend had a baby, which is against the rules if you're enrolled. Very quickly, it's a taxpayer-funded place. Quickly, Ogie, should he be expelled or not?
No, I side with the guy. Believe it or not, I wanted to go to the Coast Guard Academy. I really did. But yeah, I mean, they're in there 5 years, and by the time I get out, they're 22,
So you side with
23.
him.
Yeah.
Up or down on this?
They know the expectations going in very, very well. They sign an agreement. He knew the rules. Those are the rules.
Or not, Keith?
I think he needs to be expelled. Yeah, absolutely.
He does?
Yeah,
Keith and I agree.
Yeah, we agree.
All right. There's a shortage of substitute teachers in our area. So the Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools have now narrowed the guidelines for qualifications. You don't even have to have a college degree or college courses to be a substitute in the school system. You okay with that, Ogie?
Yeah, I've subbed before. They don't really even vet you, actually, anyway, already. But they're not doing any teaching. They're really there to enforce order. What they need is big, strong male subs to keep the kids from going crazy.
Yeah, David, what do you think?
I agree with Ogie, but for a different reason, again, is we're dealing with a unique time and unique pressures in education. We need to open the gates a little wider to solve a current problem. When that current problem's gone, you narrow the gates a little tighter again.
Keith, are you okay with substitutes not having any college degree?
No, I think they should have at least an associate degree because they're in there to teach. And if you're substituting, the kids still need to learn. So I think they should have an associate degree. And I think there are enough people out here who have those to teach these young kids.
All right, finally, KFC is selling holiday fire logs that are scented to smell like fried chicken. Guys, would you buy a fire log that smells like fried chicken, Ogie?
No, not even. Not
You don't
even.
want to do
I
that?
would never think of that.
David.
Yeah, I would. That's what I was going to give Ogie for Christmas.
You were gonna give him-
And I was going to go over to his house.
He doesn't want that.
Yeah, it's a double win.
Keith, what do you think? They don't like it. You want a fire that smells like chicken?
I thought you had some cologne on that smelled like fried chicken. was that fried chicken or was that your cologne?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny that this is our last show of the year because it's Keith's final show ever. Well, anyway, that's all the time we have. Oh, except for this. In honor of the recent National Brownie Day, a Massachusetts company baked an 850-pound brownie made of marijuana. They asked one customer, said, "What do you think of an 850-pound brownie?" And he said, "It's heavy, man." I don't know what that means. I'm not sure what that means. All right, Roundtable will be back on January 8th. We have the Senate candidates between now and then. Everybody have happy holidays. We'll see you then.